I always forget what titles to give these streams. So I saw something over this past weekend that I thought was very ironic. I'm not going to mention it yet because I want to see how many people we get in here, and if any of the usual characters decide to show up today. Then I'll remind myself later on to mention what exactly it was. It has to do with, just as a hint, something that happened in a video I did about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it does follow a pattern where it's like stuff that, please hit the like button, Dio. I would appreciate it so much. It follows a pattern where people will say something, right? And then they don't even live up to their own standards. Like if I said, man, people who wear um glasses are so dumb. It's like you're saying that as you it's just like, and they'll say that stuff and really think it's intelligent, or that they're making some big great points. It's hilarious. I got good news. I'm on the waiting list for the new chili dog G Fuel flavor. Yeah, what a great accomplishment that is. You had me thinking you were expecting the birth of your first child or something, and you're gonna sit here and tell me about some little dog. I always hate it when I take a nap and then I think, okay, that means if I go to sleep later, I'll wake up earlier. If, like, let's say a nap is an hour long, it's like, all right, that's -1, over the amount of time I spend sleeping. And it's like, nope, still get up at the same time. It's really lovely. Chili dog energy drink is an accomplishment. I heard it's very hard to stomach. Well, I've heard a lot of things about different types of food. I've even had some people who've been upset with my pronunciation of certain things. Um, I was in the comment section of my video, like the one I did on Rand Paul, and this guy was like, "You said underground stuff." He was talking about somebody else. They're dependent on people being uninformed like me, and I was thinking to myself, it's these kind of comments that like always remind me of why I don't respond to my own comment section. Like, who is such a nitpicky bastard as to get angry over me saying underground stuff, referring to, railroads, subways, stations, which are underground? It's just, I always, and it's weird too, because I don't try to make myself sound like I'm some good prognosticator, but the people who tend to be the most nitpicky and like just find the easiest ways to get offended, they're usually people I don't like hardly ever see on my stuff. And it's like when you do a video, sometimes when you're trying to make a point about something, your words might not immediately come to you. I don't have a script in front of me every time I record something. So I just thought that was funny. It's like I'm gonna sit here and get upset because of this one sentence in your video. It's like, wow, they're even doing that on the political stuff now, where they like pick out a sentence. Like, they either usually don't respond to what I say, or they're like, upset over something that doesn't matter. Like, I remember I had this one documentary I did, and this guy was like, I would recommend that you pause between. So I was like, and I didn't write anything back. I'm thinking to myself, I'd recommend that if you don't like my documentary, you can go make your own. And again, it's like, I look in the comment section and it's always that one person, that's saying that stuff. And that's why you can't be convinced that it's truly that big of a deal, because if it was, other people would say something too. That's goofy. All those people that are nitpicky are just like Bubble Bass. They show up an episode or two just to complain about the pickles. You know what? They really are like minor characters. Like, you don't see, like, I go on YouTube on the phone, at least has it to where you can see how many comments somebody has left on your channel. And it's always like one or two. And then you never see them again after that. Like I had this one guy, I mentioned this before, that I did a stream where I was just like talking about just stuff in general, like usual, right? And I mentioned that I had somebody throw out some shampoo I was using, and I was pissed about it because the bottle is transparent, so you can see how much is in there, and it was full. So it's like you're gonna throw away something that you know is not finished. Like you had no way of like mistaking this as being, you know, all consumed. And this person's like, I was a supporter of yours, but you talking about something as minor as shampoo has caused me to. And I go and look at his comment. I kid you not, I can count the number of comments he left on one hand prior to his grand resignation. Like, who does that? That's why I said that, like, most of those people that like get really outraged, you've never seen them before. They're the fakest supporters in the world. Just like when I did that stream where I was talking about it was me and my brother. I think it was like World Without Heroes 2. Yeah. And the guy was like, oh, I've been a supporter of yours and all that. And I was like, yeah, that's why I've never seen you on any videos ever. And I literally went and like looked in my subscriptions after the stream was over. Why this bastard been subscribed to me for 2 years and had never left a comment on a single video except the like why hookers are better than girlfriends one, and then came on that stream running his mouth about how much of a supporter he was of mine. I was like, man, if you don't get out of here. You know what I mean? It's just they always make themselves sound so important. Like they're like you are somehow actively hurt by them not being around, when in reality, they make themselves, you know, inconsequential because they don't actively engage with your stuff. I'm invested in your growth, not the people that actually watch you regularly and have proof that they do that by leaving comments. Oh my God. I don't even want to look at James. I hope, oh, well, good, because now I don't have to demod you. You can just, you demodded yourself. I don't want to tell everybody in here that terrible thing you did recently. Man, I made a girl delete a post on Facebook. It was great. She called me petty for critiquing a bad Rick and Morty episode. I said, what petty is you tagging me? Oh yeah, people love doing that on not even just Facebook, but like all the big social media sites. Like I remember this one chick was mad that people were criticizing one of the characters from, it was some movie series, and she tagged like 4 or 5 different people. Because with me, I always, when I take somebody's comment, usually cut their name off of it if it can be helped. uh she tagged like 5 or 6 different people and was like, haha, you're incorrect, we're laughing at you. Like, just ignore them. Like, who goes to social media looking for good opinions on stuff anyway, to try to say who hurt you and it backfired? Yeah, I'm really happy about this new channel of yours. Now I don't have to worry about what's the cover story for why you're no longer a mod. I'm gonna go, oh, my finger slipped. It was like Looney Tunes when the dynamite blows up in their face. It was like Spider-Man when Green Goblin has the glider to impale Peter, and then he jumps out the way and it hits him instead. Or I guess if you read the comic, when he ducks underneath it, whichever version you'd like to use. There's always some backfiring occurring. Or it was like in Dragon Ball when Mercenary Tao, was it through the dynamite at Goku and he kicked it back at him and it blew up in his face? Cyborg. Well, that was before he was a cyborg. Man, that was the funniest thing in the world when I was looking at Kensenshu, and they're like, I don't want them to make any of the villains recurring because that's something that Dragon Ball doesn't need. We need to go new places and stop using old villains. Like, did you read your own damn manga? Like Tao comes back multiple times, the Pilaf gang comes back multiple times, Frieza comes back twice. Like that's they're so weird. I don't like when people have like those absolution views about like writing, because I think a writer can limit themselves if they're just adamant about, oh, you can only do this once or this can never be done again. It's like, instead of telling a good story, let's make sure that we tell an inferior one with a new villain, because the new villain will mean it's automatically better than what we could have done with an older one. I don't know. Fans of a lot of this stuff just seem really closed-minded. And I guess Megumi's not going to show up today. He would have gotten a kick out of what occurred this weekend. Just something I read. Let's not establish backstory of already popular characters. Let's create new characters that the audience can't connect to. Well, again, they're operating on this really lazy premise that just because some character is new, that automatically means the story will be better. Like, you know, a premise of Cell coming back and terrorizing people with new abilities, I'd like to see way more than, oh, here's a new character with no connection to the cast that just hates them because reasons. That's kind of how I felt about Boo. Like, other than the fat version, like Super Boo and Kid Boo don't really have a reason to just be evil other than I'm evil. Let me screw with these people. Banana says, "What's up?" Oh, should I tell them about what you've been doing or what? Where you've been selling those biologically enhanced bananas with red and blue striped peels, that when you eat them, your muscles grow. I want a super cell where he absorbs the baby version of himself in the lab. Well, that version is dead. Uh, I don't know why they, like they with the granola arc, they had him wish to be stronger. I don't know why they can't just have Cell wish to have all the different powers of the Z fighters, like all the new stuff that they've learned how to do. Who is the physical embodiment of evil, but that's vague and dumb. That's why I said that the fat version is just such a great character in my opinion, because he's the only one with a distinct personality where they can focus on moral. No, I don't want to see that goat ever again. Yeah, I had to see that goat for 2 years every month, so I'm not excited about the prospect of him returning. That was the longest, never-ending arc ever. There's only been maybe like 3 chapters of that arc that are worth revisiting just because they're good. All the rest of it can balled up, throw in the trash. It just sucks because with a lot of Dragon Ball stuff, they always have these moments I like just little either an episode here or there, and then you say, "Oh, I like this," but then I don't like the whole story because of X, Y, and Z, and then you get told that you're a hater and you're just out to dislike everything and all the rest of that. It's really unfortunate. I just feel like if you sit there and you actually explain why you don't like something, because most people don't make reviews, so for you to sit there and explain it, you're justifying it to yourself and also giving examples of what you would have preferred they had done as like an alternative. Like it's not just I'm upset over this. I would like to have seen this instead with what you've given me. Um, they still get angry at you anyway. I mean, if they don't bring him, DBS will probably decline. What is there left to do? What is there left to do? That manga is going to go on forever. Like people really, what's really amusing to me is that they keep asking when is the show coming back, when they don't seem to realize the manga has been in perpetuity every single month for the last 5-6 years, because it's much easier to make a little black and white comic once a month than to do 4 episodes with animators and voice actors. That's why the manga, I could easily see that thing going for 20 years and having 200 chapters. The Boar would be cool to come back. Yeah, I mean, he's got the same thing that Janemba has, where a lot of people would have liked to have seen him used again or used in some more prominent capacity. Like, I think instead of redoing Broly, they should have redone Janemba. Because I like the idea of this, like, hell serpent that, can materialize across places and cut himself into little pieces. No, Brandon, if you go on YouTube every like 2 or 3 months, this event is happening in Japan. Is Dragon Ball Super making a comeback? And then nothing happens. No announcement. Same old stuff, right? New manga chapter comes out. Then another manga chapter comes out. There's a Dragon Ball Super announcement possibly scheduled in 2 months. 2 months pass, 2 new chapters come out. No new announcement about the damn show. New chapter. Like they really seem to not understand. It's like, why do you think Marvel and DC have been publishing comics for, in Marvel's case, 60 years, in DC's case, almost 90 years? Because it's much easier to create some books than it is to get people to animate and voice act. I could see the manga going for a very long time. Especially, see, I was a little worried when they were adapting the Tournament of Power, because I thought, oh, well, this is the end of it, because the show ended. Like the Tournament of Power literally starts right as the show ends. When it came out, and then it kept going. I was like, okay, well, now we've had 3 years where it's just the manga, so I'm firmly convinced we could see the manga go for, I don't want to keep saying forever, but just a very long time. 10 years, 15, 20. Because all they have to do with the manga, right, is get this one bastard, Toyotaro, in a room and have him scribble on 40 pages a month. That is so much easier than making a show. You wouldn't believe it. And it's not even in color. Is the craziest thing. Like, it's literally just black and white images. He's the king of hell, for Christ's sakes. Imagine a Deborah Janemba team up movie where it's like Deborah's operating as the king of hell, wreaking havoc, all the rest of that, and then like Janemba is his like equal slash like enforcer, like he goes around stopping any insurgents. So that would be really different, and it would make sense because of what we know about those two characters from their established appearances. Planned to show up to the stream earlier, but was busy cooking. Hope everyone is good. Oh, I was waiting for you to come because I was gonna mention something. So I did this video on this guy, and it was, I don't remember the title. It was like, man talks to me for a year, turns heel, sets Lion world record, something like that. And the video had screenshots of where there was this guy that I spoke to pretty much almost every day for a year. And then he was talking trash about me after we had stopped speaking because I had unfriended him after he ignored me for over a week, and I didn't like that, so I unfriended him. But while he was doing this, right, he admitted that he was actively avoiding me while like talking trash about me to this other person who sent me the screenshots. So that other person who sent me the screenshots yesterday sent me some more. And in one of these screenshots, let me see if I can find it. He is like trying to get the guy to go to a voice chat, so to come and talk to him vocally, like basically over the telephone on Discord, right? And the guy is saying, I have headaches, I can't come in. And he's accusing him of faking having headaches because he doesn't want to answer a question or something like that. And when the guy, when he threatens to leave the server if the guy doesn't come to the VC, and the guy says, bye. And then he responds by saying, all right, I expected you to not have balls to say anything to my face anyway, bye-bye. The reason this is ironic is because he's accused, remember, he avoided me while like talking trash about me, right? And he's going to accuse this other person of not having the balls to say something to his face. So he proved in my video that he didn't have the balls to say something to my face. We're going off of his logic. But he's going to get upset about someone else not having the balls to say something to his face. It's like, you're cowardly because you won't directly address me, even though I already proved I was cowardly by not directly addressing this person. That's why I said these people are like, they're so ironic and they don't even realize it. The lack of self-awareness is just great when you read stuff on here. I did see that video you did on him. Yeah, this was yesterday. He accused this guy of not having balls to say something to his face as he was actively not having balls to say something to my face. And accused him of faking headaches. Like, who does that? Like, I've had people who didn't want to speak to me on Discord, and they would say, "Oh, I feel sick," or something. It's like I'm not going to accuse you of faking it, like, because I've never done it to somebody where it's like I just say I don't want to talk to you. I don't go, "Oh, The irony is uncanny once again with these clowns. And if you read some of the, because the guy calls him his friend, if you read some of the stuff he was like saying about him, it was like, with friends like that, who needs enemies? You're an idiot. He called him something else, but I don't want to say it because I don't want to get demonetized. It starts with an R and ends with a certain man, how do I explain it? It's a word that people use to insult someone else's intelligence that starts with an R. You can figure out what it is. It's like, That's supposed to be your friend who's calling you that? Because and remember, he's not calling this because the other guy has cursed him out, because he's threatened him or saying gross stuff about him. He just doesn't want to have a call with him. Yeah, put a T and put an E and a T in front of that Dio, and you'll have it. I have a good idea on what that word is. Dude, YouTube will demonetize you for anything. Like, I get, playing copyrighted music. I get, I don't know, just a lot of times if I do a video where I'm responding to what somebody else is saying, it's either the topic itself that gets me in trouble, like with monetization, right? Not like actually like, oh, you're violating guideline or nothing like that, but just it's either the topic itself or the clip I'm playing as the person, using profanity. Like it's always some factor that it's like unavoidable. Like if you just can't talk about this without get like that's how it was with the virus where you couldn't even say the word that it actually is because we get demonetized. You breed demonetized. Yeah, they really do that. And then you have all these TV shows, right, where people say the A word, the B, all the rest of that, and then they get paid for doing their stuff. But oh, you said a bad word. We can't have that. Their policies really aren't very clear and vague. It's straight. Yeah, like I said, if you post content regularly about the news, you'll be shocked at like because I even had people who are like, oh, there's no way you get demonetized over. It's like, no, you can sit there and you can talk about it in a tame way, but if you just like if I do a video on some country, right? If you put the country's name in the title, you get demonetized. Like it's really insane. I mean, they have a better following than you, so who? I mean, with a lot of them, they just have like other websites they get paid on. Like with Secular Talk, he goes to Patreon, so he can like I guess make back whatever YouTube takes off. Did you change your name again? No, he made another account. That's why he's not a mod anymore. They like the favor system. Yeah, Megumi, I was going to get rid of James as a mod because I found out about that book he was writing about me. I mean, yeah, but there's a lot of channels that are smaller than me too. I mean, it was around this time last year. I had a guy make a video about me, and he put my name in the title, and I didn't put his name in the title. I just played his video on fast mode for my stream. I just noticed he didn't have the mod tag. Yeah, he got rid of that video with the people giving their unsolicited advice. Like I said, somebody made a romance video, and I always hate watching other people's videos on this stuff because it tends to annoy me just some of the things they say, and that video was proof of that. It was so hard, excuse me, to not want to take that video, stick it in my editor, and then just do like a commentary over it and break down each respective point. Again, if I wanted to go around and like get upset with people over their romantic stuff, I'd be a lot kinder and gentler than what I get in my comment section. I don't need to call anybody any names. I don't need to say this person is stupid. I would explicitly explain why I don't believe what they're saying actually is helpful or makes any sense. I don't know, it just seems like every time I think there's a video where someone is saying something insane or just ridiculous, it gets a whole bunch of people to just thumb it up. It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's something weird going on over here. But yeah, James's last week as a mod was this past. Was it Saturday or Wednesday? At least Wednesday was the last time I saw his old channel when he came to that stream that had over 140 people watching, which was insane. No, that was really nutty. I don't know what happened. Actually, I take that back. I do know what happened. You put bigger people's name in the video's title, so they come and flock. And actually address what is being conveyed. Yeah, like you wouldn't see me say anything about what he's wearing, about his mic, none of that. Just why is what he is saying incorrect? It's just so sad that like you'll give people these courtesies that you'll never receive in return. Like there are so many people that respond to stuff just writing things that don't have anything to do with what's being talked about. Like I've had 2 or 3 different comments just this year alone about my background. Like, man, come on. Can somebody please? And remember, they're telling you to do like these big, massive, quote unquote improvements so that people who don't watch you might finally watch you. It's like, yeah, I feel so bad that people who already don't like me are having one more reason to not like me. And that was a lot of people I've seen in your. No, that's the most ever. The highest before that was 3 years ago, and I had 20 people. That was over 140. Like I even took screenshots of it because I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the heck? Oh my God. I did see a bit of that stream, was wondering how it got so much attention. Oh, because you put bigger people's name in the title. What happened is that the guy that was getting accused by the woman hasn't responded yet. So I ended up responding quicker to like both of the people that were disparaged in the video I played. I responded quicker to it than either of them. Like I took their place. That video came out on Wednesday morning. I was like, yeah, give me a few hours. You're supposed to be getting around that much, if not more, than the amount of subs you have anyway, really. Dude, you know what? I know one channel. Actually, no, I'll mention them by name. With TYT, they have 5 million subs. I have never seen them do a stream with more than like 5,000 people watching at max, which is terrible for someone that large. I know a guy who does every time he does a stream, he has like 12,000 people watching, and he's not even a 25% of their size when it comes to subscribers. That's because most subs are dormant, as I mentioned before. That like most people who will subscribe to you will not actively watch you, and you can see this across the whole website. If you remember Team 4-Star with their Abridged series, yeah, those videos get millions of views, right? Which is like bigger than their number of active subs. But if they do any other type of video, they get probably 200,000, 300,000 at max, if we're being generous. Which again is very bad for a channel with 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, like the main thing they did that they no longer do, they were getting like very great views for, right? But if they do anything else, just plummets. Like, give me a few minutes. I got to go out here and grab something, so I'll be back in probably a minute or two. Yeah, back to what I was saying. No, I don't feel bad about my views anymore because I know that even if you get more subscribers, it's just going to be the same issue repeated. Hell, David Pakman's got over 1 million subscribers, and for the life of me, I couldn't tell you the last video he did where he got a million views or even half of that. Like, I would really like to do a stream where we just go through like every big channel we can think of and then like calculate how many like subscribers actually watch their stuff, because it's always like 10% or 5%. It's always like a really small bit. I don't even feel bad about having 0 views. Yeah, like I said, the more subscribers you have, just it's just a bigger target on your back. I mean that very seriously, because I think people should not subscribe if they're not actually going to watch the channel. So I would rather have no new ones if it means that I won't have a bigger number of people that click the button and then vanish. And another thing is a lot of people when they subscribe to you, it's because you did one video they liked. So it's like a reactionary thing versus like actually, just for example, I started watching this channel about like different crimes, right? And I watched this guy's channel and at least 15 different videos from him, right, before subscribing. And it's like, even if I do end up not watching him as regularly or whatever, it's like I still showed sustained support for that person, you know? So it's not like, oh, I watched this one video, I thought it was really good, and then here I go vanishing. Yeah, I agree. I had the same idea too with many people do on here when they subscribe to someone. Man, it's really insane. And that's why I said that like when you do a lot of stuff online, you will drive yourself crazy just thinking about what kind of like I had people who were like, you need to get a better camera, you need to do this. Like I'm good. I'm not gonna sit here and go nuts because you know, people want to give all this unsolicited advice. I already mentioned I have two cameras. I have the one on the computer and then the one on my phone. And the one on my phone is better. Like that's when I use for like if I make an edit video, I'm using stuff from there. Um, but again, it doesn't make a difference. You still get like you're not going to see whatever. It's do you know that what I'm talking about? They make all kind of explanations for stuff that doesn't even add up. They sub because they only like that one video and that's it. That's how it was for Team Four Star. Like out of the hundreds of videos they have on their channel, there's about maybe 70 that people actually watching and keep coming back to. All the rest, they try to do some podcast, they don't watch it. They try to do some other show, they don't watch it. Because again, it's that one thing, and if they don't like, if that's not what's posted, vanish. That's why it was funny when people were saying that oh, the romance stuff gets more views. Like, well, that might be true of like older videos I did on it, but if I put up a newer one, the maximum is like 100 views or 200. Like, you're not going to see it go out of the ballpark of a few hundred at most. And I've had multiple instances of political videos getting either 1,000 views or thousands of views. Like the video I did defending Cenk when he got yanked from the Justice Democrats had over 20,000 views on it. Same thing with the one from this past Wednesday. And then I did another video, two of them on Door, and like somebody that he was arguing with or was talking about him, and they both had over 700. So, it doesn't. Again, people might say romance stuff is more popular, but for me, anyways, out of the newer stuff, they're about even. You need a better camera. You need better audio. Don't you love taking them? And what I noticed, Banana? Most of the people that give advice on here about what you should do to get more subscribers don't even have channels. Like, remember we were talking about like with the people who give the romance advice, they sound like porn stars, but they don't actually ever show proof they're with a woman or they've like been with women. So like it's that same thing of people who claim to be experts on this stuff, you can prove they don't even have any credentials to show you. No, Brandon, I'll never forget. There was a guy that did videos on Pokemon cards, and the first video I saw of his was him announcing he was not making any more videos. And he got over 100,000 views. And people were like, "The YouTube algorithm, this damn," and I really believed him because I'm like, there's no way you can just say this is his fault. And all these people in the comment section are admitting they've never heard or seen of him before his final video, right? And so in the comment section was like, just completely freaking out. You need to collab with other people to make it big, and it was your fault. And I go on his channel, no subscribers, no videos. It's like, how are you this enraged and like righteous in trying to tell this person, what they should have done, and you don't even make anything yourself? But that's like a real running theme across these websites where like the people who do the least amount of work have the most to say about what it means to be successful. It's a hit or miss on this. I remember when I uploaded the romance, we had about 100 views. When I uploaded a video about COVID, it got 5. Well, like I said, man, there is a real prime market for that romance stuff, right? Like people will just click on those for the sake of it. Like I think we've been over this. Like there are people that actually go on this website, type in romance or some other word having to do with chicks, and they just swarm. That's why when I do a video or a stream, and one of those guys is like, "Have you heard of this person? Have you heard of that person?" Because that's literally what they do all day. They just look up different people that have talked about this. So it makes a lot of sense that video would get as many views as it did. Like I said, that one I have with the 200,000, I didn't promote that thing at all. I just uploaded that, and it just sat dormant with like a few hundred views, maybe 1,000 for a couple of months. Because that was in February, and then in August or like September, and I was like, what the hell? That's why I don't believe in like all this stuff about promotion and share this and have that, because I literally did nothing, and that video got 200,000 views. I didn't share that with anyone. I didn't post it anywhere. It's really crazy. Now, people really like talking up hard work. They really enjoy that. That's like Bruce Lee taking advice from an amateur boxer about how to throw a punch. You get what I'm saying? That like the main people who sit here and tell you what to do don't even do it themselves. Have you heard about? Yeah, that guy. By the way, I like that there's some video of him I saw, not on his channel, but somewhere else, where he was talking about copyright striking people who use clips of him. And I was just doing myself, don't worry, you'll never see me use any of your stuff ever. I don't use clips from other people. The only people I use clips from their stuff are like political channels. And they don't care, because I've never had any problems with them. So you could say it really is somewhat random how the view. Yes, it is absolutely random. I did a video on Bill Maher talking about like Biden's accuser, and like again, every video I do is the same. I read the story, I talk about what my opinion is of it. I don't share it anywhere, and it gets over 1,000 views in a day, and I'm like, what in the world? Like, it's really weird on here what gets attention. Like that video, that stream I did on Wednesday, I thought at most it was gonna get probably a few hundred, because the other two that I did on Door this year had about the same number, and it beats all of them twofold. Like that video has more views than I have subscribers. That is insane. Or a doctor taking advice for medical treatment from a nurse. You know what? At least a nurse would have some kind of credentials to talk about it. Imagine like me telling a lawyer, right? I'm a person never been to law school, never passed the bar, none of that. Here's how you win a case. Imagine someone telling a married man, like a guy who only has ever had one girlfriend, right? Telling a married man how to like how to satisfy his woman. It's like you've only ever been with one person ever, and you're an expert on romance, really? I mean, you know, a lot of this stuff is hilarious on here. People just like everyone is an expert on something. Like the reason I even started doing the political stuff was because I went to school for that. Like I studied it. I would sit there and read things about it, and that's why if I do an edited video, a lot of times I get more compliments on those than if I were just making stuff. Uh, I have must admit I have been too busy working 3 jobs and family stuff to post anything. Pray to the algorithm gods, and you'll get more views. I'm telling you, man, it is really random. Like all the stuff I have that's gotten the most views, I did no promotion for it whatsoever. The only video I promoted actively was the one on the 717 billion military budget. Because I was on Twitter posting all the time, but the other ones, no. It really does feel like YouTube just picks a video out of a box and is like, this one will get 1,000 views this year. I respect that when you do political commentary, you read the story in its full context and then comment your thoughts on it. Well, that's because I don't. A lot of times with political stuff, if you talk about a story without reading the whole thing, you have these people who will accuse you of like, oh, you made this up. It's like, no, you can go and type in what I said and you can literally find the article, or you can ask me for a copy of it. Like it's a literal representation of what the person said. We're reading verbatim what was written of their remarks or whatever the event was in question. No, the Young Turks are no different from what I do. The only difference is they wear a suit and tie or a gown or whatever formal thing that they think is professional, and they sit in front of a desk and they have more people helping them with their stuff. They're just a really I guess more aesthetically pleasing commentary channel. That's the only difference. No, there is no like actual. What's a good example of what I'm saying? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not going to go even further into that because I don't want to bring up the 20 million they got from Katzenberg. The algorithm gods. I'm just imagining these like larger than life human beings that like you see them and there's the sun is beaming down on you where their faces are covered in silhouette. It's like we are the algorithm gods and we will make sure that your video gets 100,000 views. Now secular talk is like 800 and no 970,000. I for the life of me can't tell you any video he's done this year except maybe one or two that has more than like 300,000 views. So my point still stands that like the bigger you get, the more and more people are not actively watching you. Oh yeah, the new romance video should be done this week at last. I would have finished it this weekend. My brother was over here and we were just I guess having fun, so that was like a big distraction. But I've got most of the script written. That's a bit disturbing to keep in mind. Yeah, because it's like all these people just press a button and then vanish. Like I know people who actively admit they've been subscribed to someone for years and haven't watched their stuff in years. They just like they just stay subscribed. Hell, the broad that what video was that? The like woman tries to control me, fails miserably. She admitted she was still subscribed to me and was just like ignoring all notifications from my channel. Well, that was a real bot. That was a dingbat bot. ADB. When TYT does commentary, they pull up some random tweet and use that to attack and dismiss criticism without actually addressing it. I tell you, that channel is just, that thing is like literally watching a zombie do the news. Like, I remember really liking that channel 5, 6, heck, even like 3 years ago, and now it's gone completely insane. That, like, ever since Dore left, it was just deterioration in excess. And then it's funny watching them do their moral grandstanding, but they have segments about camel toe and putting up pictures of naked women. It's like, what is this? That's who's going to teach us how to respect chicks and the code of ethics, huh? Man, that was really hilarious because I did forget about some of those because it had been a really long time since they had done those. Let me see. Did James write anything else? No, Algorithm Gods was his last comment. Now he's off to go write his book about me. So he's going to go and sign a deal with Simon and Schuster. I wouldn't look up spiders anyways. What? There was this one woman that died in a car crash, and her picture was posted. Like, the pictures of her after the crash were posted online, like leaked online. And so someone actually did make a video like top 10 things not to look up on Google Images. I'm busy praying to algorithm God so I can get some views. I'm saying every time you say that, I'm just picturing like 5 to 10 people just come down from the sky with laptops, and they put your, like, they're all using their combined mic to put your video on the front page. The algorithm can work in mysterious ways after all. Like I said, the algorithm really does feel like a lottery box. Like, overwhelmingly, if I do a video that gets a bunch of views, it's through no promotion of my own. Like, nobody I know personally promoted, and I didn't share it anywhere. It just woke up one day and it has views on it. The algorithm gods. No, for the woman's many options video, I'm excited for that one because I've got different stories with that stuff. I even mentioned at the start that, like, I think the only reason a lot of chicks even get a date is because men usually don't have multiple options. Like, I talked about how the one chick I dated, the biggest gold digger in U.S. history, how um, I only agreed to go on a date with her because that was my only option. I can infer that if I had other options, it certainly would not have been as easy to appeal to me. It's a topic that really needs to be discussed. Yeah, I wrote 2 versions of the script. I wrote the first one, then I came back a few months later and started revising it. What about those people who claim I hate your content but come back and watch it anyway? Oh, you mean like the person who said your complaining continues and then wrote 5 paragraphs about how bad I was, and then came to my next stream and then came to like 4 or 5 streams after that. And I'm like, what are you doing here? I love how they always claim that this is like a censorship channel, but then when I was doing the 100, was it the 100 people watching stream on Wednesday, like, there were people in there actively admitting that I wasn't banning people for saying things that disagreed with my view. It's like, yeah, I don't have a problem with the disagreement, but if you come in here insulting my mods or me, I'm like, yeah, I'm not really a fan of that. I told you every time they get banned, they're usually writing something nasty, or you ask them to like not talk about this and they refuse. Like they always play victim, you know. Yeah, though, true fan. I had two of them do that this year, where they write something really nasty or antagonistic, and then they like do some pretend character arc where now they're suddenly come to realize the error of their ways. It's like you just wanted attention, or you're just being ridiculous for no reason. It's one of those two. I'm gonna come on your stream and accuse you of not having introspection, and I'm gonna watch you religiously. No, I try not to ban people because I want to really see if they'll leave on their own, and a lot of them don't. Like the broad who said in June of 2018, "I'm not watching you anymore" or whatever, got offended, and then came back like twice. You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me. Those people are like everywhere and like abruptly crashing streams when they feel like it. Yeah. Again, people have intentions that are just unbeknownst to me. Like I mentioned that I'm unsubbing you makes return to channel a couple years later or a couple of months later. I remember you when you started and you wrote your first book. Oh, I don't write books anymore because people don't read. Like people can't even read a comic book, and I'm supposed to write a novel. That is really scary. That like comics were supposed to be the books that were for illiterate adults, and now it's being proved that people can't even read. It's like books with colored pictures. Again, if you don't understand why that's pathetic, I don't know what else to tell you. Everybody in here should be embarrassed just for humanity. I remember this one guy was like, "American comics are being destroyed by." I was like, "Yeah, because Americans don't read. Hell, when people would buy video games, they don't even read the instruction book on how to play the damn thing." I just find that so sad. Nor can they write. Like, I think their refusal to read is even more pathetic because like people will admit writing something is much harder than reading with something someone else wrote, because you have to actually like put more thought into it, and again, creating is harder than taking in someone else's thing, and it's like they don't even do that. Like I know a guy that was saying I don't really like reading when we were talking about this. It was some manga, and I'm like, if the anime's adaptation of this arc is 90 episodes and the manga is 40 chapters, and I can read about 10 chapters in maybe like an hour, whereas it takes several days to watch the shows, I'm going to read the manga because it's faster. Like that's why I said I'm so embarrassed by these people, because it's not, I can understand with regular books, but a book with pictures, like it's goofy to me. They can't even read a book with images. That was one of my favorite thing about American comics, all the different artists, who I like the most, who I don't like. And it's like, watching one movie takes 2 hours, but then reading several issues of a comic is probably like I can read 10 issues in probably an hour or 2 hours. Like I just sit there flipping pages. At least in comics, you get engaged with the pictures along with the text. Probably that was what I was saying, Megumi, that I can understand someone looking at just text by itself and going, okay, yeah, like kind of dozing off. but you like these people took this story. See, there's a lot of people who say that comics are like they're like movies that don't move because usually it's one person that writes the script, right? And it's another person that brings the script to life with the imagery. So to have the images like be disregarded by these people who won't read either a regular book, you know, a novel or a comic, I just think it's so sad because it's really a disrespect to the artist that like you sat here and actually, you know, tried to make something, tried to adapt someone else's story. At least it isn't just a yeah. Well, Bagumi, that's why it's even worse. Like again, I know little kids, I know grown adults who refuse to read comics, and I can't empathize with them at all. Americans see a bunch of words and get scared. Dude, they see like one paragraph of amount of words, right? On like a whole page of a comic, which would probably take them maybe a minute to read. And they're like, ugh. And like I said, it almost feels like you can't win because if you do like let's say an audiobook, right? They won't listen to that, like have somebody listen to like, you know, read the stuff to them, and then they won't even read the stuff themselves. So what else can you do? Oh, they see a few words and get scared. Like I said, comics were thought of as being books that were for illiterate adults and children, and now because of how just bonkers people are when it comes to refusing to read anything, comics are an advanced medium. Like, you know, I would have more respect for someone that reads comics now than I probably would have had, let's say 30, 40 years ago, because now I know that most people can't even read a book, let alone a comic. I do like comic manga books. I prefer to have the paperback instead of reading it up online, but that's just me. Look, the only reason I'd like to read them online is because with American comics, especially the US, like the big two, Marvel and DC, do a terrible job of archiving their stuff. So the only way you can really read an entire series a lot of times, either if you have a collection of those or if you read it online. Because Marvel won't re-release most of their stuff. Like legit, people will not read something if there are too many words, as if their brain's short-circuited. It's not even just that. It's like it's a book with pictures, and it's like there was a time, and there are some comics that are drawn before they're written, where like one person draws this, and then the other one has to like infer what's being written, and they won't even do that. Just a book with pictures. Ugh. Hell, a lot of modern comics actually get criticized for like being just picture books, like they have lesser words than books from, let's say, like the 60s or 70s. Like as time has gone on, they've become less wordy. It's like they can't even do that. That's just so sad to me. And there are a lot of comics I really like that I just think it's so sad people will never experience them because they don't open their mind. You know, we actually went over this a little bit before that like one of the problems I have with people online is that they try to, and you've seen this before if you've been on the internet long enough. You have these people who try to convince you that like you're supposed to accept others for who they are, right? But then you're also supposed to like do things based off of what somebody else would like you. Like, so for example, you're supposed to accept other people just won't read comics ever, right? And not complain about it or anything. But then you're also supposed to like be open to doing what they want to do. You see how those are like, those don't go together well, like with the chick stuff too. Accept any woman no matter what condition she is in, but if you're a man, oh, you must follow these rigorous steps that we've prepared for you. I really do feel like Americans are intellectually digressing. Yeah, like legit people will not read something if there are too many words. But again, it's like I don't even know how many words it is because like even stuff that barely has any text in it, they won't read it. Like I was reading what was it, Donnie Coates' run on X-Men, the one from 2008, not X-Men, Venom from 2018, and those books have much less words than like a comic from a couple of decades ago, right? Like they don't have as much text. And I know people who won't even read that. Another double standard, one-sided remark. Yeah, one side accepts the other while being told to change who they are for the other side. You have to accept every damn body while being told that you won't be accepted for who you are. That's fair. Some don't even know how many continents there are. Man, some can't even name any countries besides the one they're in, or like Canada or something, or Japan, and that's only because they know of a lot of like entertainment from there. Y'all is describing me 100%. I'm completely illiterate. I'm to blame, but enjoying the discussion though. Yeah, but these people are not. Well, I don't know if you mean illiterate as in you can't read, but these people can read and choose not to, and then like we're supposed to think of them as these intellectual heavyweights. Like, I still can't get over the guys that I'm not going to say his name, but it's like he claims that the most important thing or the only thing that matters about a movie is its writing, but then he can't even read a comic. It's like, how do you want me to take you seriously as an expert in writing, but then you can't even read a book with pictures? Question: is it bad? I can't. Nobody. I don't think most people could name all 190 countries. Someone said there were 36 continents. Yeah, there are. I mean, just whenever you have multiple of anything, there are people who usually can't. Like, they did a poll where most Americans couldn't name a single Supreme Court justice. And even if I could name most of them, which I'm very very confident I could, or all of them, you know, I understand where somebody would slip up because I follow this stuff regularly enough to where I could probably name more active politicians than a lot of other people. But you know, I wouldn't say all because there's just too many of them. Like, there's literally hundreds of members of Congress at any given time, which changes like every year or every other year. Oh, Megumi, do you agree with the sentiment that one of the ways this problem creates itself is because chicks are afraid to approach men they actually like? They end up like it has like a butterfly effect where then men are talking to chicks that don't like them, and then it basically causes this cycle of men talk chicks that don't like them, chicks won't talk to men they actually like, so then it, like a whole bunch of men, even ones that would be found attractive by some chicks, still end up with anybody. Like, for real, I know kids who don't even know how to use a yellow page phone book, let alone know what it is. I just don't get why people are adverse to reading a book with pictures. I don't understand. I really, actually, I think we went over this in another stream where there was a guy who was like saying one of the things that Japanese comics have over American ones because they end like, yeah, every one of them that ends gets criticized for its ending. So I'd rather have a story that doesn't end so that nobody can say the ending sucked and it ruined everything than a story that has an ending that everybody hates. Some kids' understanding of media and entertainment these days only goes as far as, yeah, I know. I could really see that becoming a reality, though. That's the sad thing about it. Yeah. Man, that chick stuff is just it is a never-ending cycle of just double standards and people throwing anything at the wall. But I think that that's a decent theory because if chicks don't approach men that they like, then even men that are supposedly worthy of being with a woman are going to likely get the same result, at least for a time, as ones that supposedly are unworthy, according to these people online. And then they'll end up talking to some woman that doesn't like them who, remember, we don't even have chicks that just say no anymore. They'll sit there and talk to you for weeks or months, even though they don't like you. So like they're getting their time wasted because someone that actually is interested in them is too scared to say something to them. I gave the example in the video that, you know, if I had 5 chicks that all approached me on the computer, right? And they're all talking to me almost every day, it's really hard for any of them to stand out because they're all doing what they're conditioned by society to do to appeal to a man. You know, so that's why I said that the main reason I think chicks even have an easier time is because most men don't have any options or very few. So they just like stand out by showing interest basically. And I even compared it to how there are elections where people will literally win just because they're the only one running. Yeah, because it's been proven that a lot of chicks who even find a man attractive are too scared to just say hello. Yeah, and there are articles that show this along with the videos I mentioned before. Like I said, man, it's a more complex issue than just this person is ugly. This person doesn't know how to emotionally connect with a woman. It's all. Oh, that's another video we gotta do, the self improvement, work on yourself crucible, where you know that's literally said so that they can find a way to keep having you jump through more and more hoops. And then if you don't get the intended result, it's gonna just keep being your fault. Oh, it's funny too because a lot of these guys talk about like growth and character development, but they don't actually have growth themselves because oh, thanks. I try to be creative with the titles, but if they had growth themselves, they would actually like be on your side if you do the things they tell you to do. Like for example, if I tell Megumi, you need to go to the gym and have a 6 pack to get a date, right? And he goes to the gym and has a 6 pack. If I was like, you know, someone who actually cared about him, I would say, what the hell is wrong with these chicks? He did what I told him to do. Have a physique that stands out for most men, and he's still getting the same result. This is ridiculous. There's something wrong with see, because that would be someone who like believes in what they're saying. That is like it, you know, because then it dawns on them there's something wrong with the chicks because a person is doing something they consider objectionably attractive and still getting the same result. But you won't see that from these people. If you do that 6 pack thing with somebody on here, they're gonna go, well, you probably don't have a car. You probably approached in a weird way. You probably didn't connect because again, it's designed to be the rope that they hang you with. I just think that's so sad because a lot of people do come on here like actually thinking men are like concerned about them and care about them. They don't. What flag is this? So I'm very sorry. I don't know what flag that is. I apologize. The cold-hearted truth. Well, I'm in the video. I'm just going to make the point that like you'd have to really be a serious prick to say that someone doesn't act differently or has improved in 10 years. Like if they've gone from being a teenager to an adult, right? Like that would be a really nasty, ridiculous stretch to make a claim like that. So if the improvements that I have made, that again most men have made if they grow up, are not enough, then you know we look at the stuff you guys are asking for, and besides the fact that it's not balanced, like oh, go to the gym every day so a woman who doesn't exercise at all can like you. We know that if you do any of it, you're just going to keep having these men that nitpick the ever living, you know, crap out of you. You're too short. You're too ugly. You lack confidence because even though we've never met, I know your personality. I got the advanced manual on your character traits. And again, that stuff is designed so that no matter what happens with the woman, as long as you don't get the intended result of a date, they're never going to take your side. They're never going to give you any credit. They're never going to acknowledge, hey, this is actually a decent person. Like, for example, if I did videos telling chicks how to get with men and it didn't work for them, I would say, what's wrong with these men? Because again, they would have taken my advice. And if I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt and assuming that they did what I told them to, my disillusion would then go to the people who are not, you know, reacting differently with my advice implemented. if I tell my brother that to get a date, he has to be nice to a woman and be her friend and have some special connection with her, and then he shows me screenshots of a woman talking about how important he was to her, but then, oh, I only like you as a friend, I would say, what's wrong with her? Like I'm not like doing something that's specifically designed for him to just keep jumping through hoops over and over, um, you know, without me eventually saying, yeah, you tried, you actually did what I told you to do, and it didn't work out, and that's not a poor reflection on you. That's a poor reflection on that broad. Everyone has a fantasy about making love a midget, but they don't want to make to someone that's 5 feet and under. Now, I really do like the script for the options video so far, because again, it's something you won't see most commentators on here talk about, because they believe in the like mind over matter stuff, and it's not convenient to believe that as long as you like try and believe in yourself, it can change whatever happens to you when you have these external factors that are entirely out of your control. So it's going to be interesting to go over. Just keep trying, believe in yourself. Yeah. I think in the video I mentioned there's a guy that I used to talk to who had some person he called himself friends with that wanted to own a boat by the time he was 30, and like was saying that women can expand your horizons if you go on date, some crazy stuff, right? And he said that, believing in yourself boosts your morale, but it doesn't make tangible changes to what people think of you. Like, you can believe in yourself until the cows come home, but it's not going to make a woman go on a date if she doesn't want to, or make you get cast in movies that are usually helmed by big name actors. Things will magically change in your favor. The advice is designed to dehumanize. Hey, I did that video. Remember how romance dehumanizes men? They want you to be a real life Mary Sue. No, like, for example, I could say this year I'm going to finish season 3 of my show, and I could sit there and draw all this different stuff for it. But going back to things being out of your control, right? If the voice actors don't do their lines throughout the year, then I can't make my show, even if I say I'm going to make it this year, because my morale being boosted and me working as hard as I can is not going to make other people who don't have a vested interest in seeing this thing be completed actually, do what I, ask of them. See what I'm saying? That, it's nice to boost your morale. It's nice to believe it, but there are these factors that are out of your control that are not dependent on how you view yourself. Just like, you can believe in yourself, but if that woman is talking to 5, 10, 15 other guys, you don't think they believe in themselves as well? This is what these silly people spouting this pointless advice need to take into consideration. Mm-hmm. Well, I told you that a lot of them, when they do the fan fiction stuff, that pisses me off, because it's like they're acknowledging that they're not actually listening to what you have to say. Like I mentioned that with a certain person that lacks logic, she said that, oh, you don't seem to me to be someone that just wants a date. And I'm like, but if I say that's what I want, and I've shown no interest in doing something else, or like, if you get what I'm saying, they have to create some other reason for this to be happening. Oh, you want more than a date, even though you say you want a date. It's like, sure, in the long term, I would like more than that, but if you ask somebody, hey, will you on a date, and then they're going, oh, well, I think you want more than that. It's like, well, that's not based off of anything. Like that's you creating fan fiction. Euro dollars are 11th hour ranger. No, and then after that video, there's going to be the one on the never-ending accidental pregnancies. Men try motivating us to believe ourselves, but they keep giving us red flags, and we keep getting rejected over and over again. Well, yeah, because their intent is not to actually help you. They are trying as hard as they can to not criticize chicks at all. So they're going to tell you to believe in yourself, work on yourself, but the woman doesn't have to do anything differently. And like I said, man, if things were reversed and it was men that were like turning down chicks over and over again, these same people would say, what's wrong with these men? Look at these beautiful women. Why are they objecting to being on dates with? Because again, it's designed, all of it, to be in favor of the broad. So they would, just, they basically, if you get rejected by a woman, it's your fault. And if you reject a woman, it's your fault. So if you're a man, that is, because it's designed to where they're never going to criticize her ever. Like if chicks were getting rejected like men are, if things were reversed, they would say the men's standards are too high. Something is wrong with these men. But because it's chicks getting rejected, because it's chicks rejecting, rather, you need to improve yourself. You need to change who you are. You need to transform. That would be. I actually did one time, like, imagine that as a dream where it's like chicks getting rejected over and over and having like whole groups and people telling broads to get like breast implants and all this other crazy stuff to get a date. And then there are men who are like, "Oh, don't worry, poor woman. Eventually, a man will like you." And then she's like, "Oh, can we go on a date?" He's like, "Yeah, right." Like just this complete inversion. Like we're like just this one. This is like the only difference in this alternate reality where it's like all the chicks are getting rejected over and over, and they have whole groups. Like it's they're in the position of men, and you're seeing a totally different reaction from men to this, where like the men are white knighting for the chicks and saying that there's something wrong with the men that are rejecting them. And this self-improvement stuff doesn't actually exist because, again, it's designed so that men can keep having these unrealistic standards they're supposed to meet for people that don't meet them themselves. But with chicks, they're told that they'll eventually one day, someday be accepted for who they are by this magic man that appears. They'd be like, "You need to try harder, man." Yeah. I told you the craziest thing was when that guy came on my stream talking about you need to settle. I'm like, you don't say you're willing to go on a date with 90 different chicks and like lower your standards any further, Like how does one side reject all these men and then the guy who's like, okay, 90 chicks I like going on a date with, all they want to go on a date with, whatever. Oh, you need to lower your standard. Like, to what? Here's what I don't get. All this advice is like designed to cater towards chicks, which reinforces their actions being entitled to all this crazy amount of standards from guys. Yeah. Dude, that's why I can't take these people seriously. Like, most of the time, they're not actually addressing what you're saying. Most of the time, they never prove they're even with the woman in the first place. Most of the time, they're writing this weird stuff that nobody could do anyway. Like, it really is a parody at this point. Women are attracted to physically dominant men. Yeah, it's like, how does he know what dominance you even have? Like, it's weird. But again, all these psychological personality tests, even though there are about 100 guys are in her DMs. Dude, James, do you remember the chick that I told you had her number on Reddit and she had 50 men try to talk to her in a week without showing a picture of herself? It's like you cannot tell me when I have proof that something like that actually happened, that if you just try harder, woman likes you. Like, no, she has, what is that, 10 basketball teams worth of men trying to talk to her? And you're going to tell me there's something I can do to stand out from all of it? Man, get out of here. So they turn regular chicks have now become like unicorns. Like it'd be easier to slay a dragon than to get a date. And you see, or commit suicide over a woman. Well, again, it just goes back to this thing of how people's, like, men's romantic needs are not being met, and then they're expected to have like this really ridiculous like patience to getting those met and to do all of these extraneous things that are not worth what they would actually receive in return. Like going on a date with a woman is not worth several months of push-ups and other exercise techniques. It just isn't. Trying to become a millionaire is not worth what do you call no getting going on a date with a woman is not worth trying to like save up enough money to have 6 zeros in a row. Like it's all that is just insane. Yeah, Megumi, when you see something like that, would you really be able to tell a man in in good conscience, this is what you need to do to appeal to this woman who has 50 other options besides you? And the first thing they'll say is, oh, well, not every woman. It's like, yeah, but even if it's like 5 or 10, that still is way better than a man will receive. Like literally, I have never had a single chick in real life ask me for my number unless it was for some school assignment. Like all the romantic stuff has been like through someone I met online. So again, even if it's only 4, 5, 10 guys a woman's talking to, that still is way better than most men will receive. Again, people just don't want to acknowledge this stuff because it pokes holes in their theories. But that thing on Reddit really did just kind of, I mean, a woman that no one knows who she is. They don't know what she looks like. 50 men in 1 week. Yeah, I understand why they may resort to doing that. The society already puts insane amounts of pressure on guys and view men who are single as unworthy. Yeah, unworthy. Like we're Thor trying to lift the hammer. And yeah, that's crazy. Dude, you know, this one guy said that like it used to be that he believed he could get with women unless it was someone who was like famous, you know, because then that broad would have a whole bunch of men trying to talk to her. But then it's like now regular chicks are on the level of famous chicks. Like he would look at a regular woman as just a woman, and then like a famous chick as like a unicorn that you're trying to ride or something. You know, like some kind of otherworldly being, right? But now regular chicks are otherworldly beings. That's why people tell you you're not worthy, you're too up, because they have to like really hype up these chicks that again are most of the time not even worth a can of tuna. That's how dating is pretty much. Oh no, 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 no. We're not playing that damn game today. Sorry. Look, I've been respectful toward you because you haven't called me any names. But if you're gonna tell me that dating has always been this way, when we have proof that these romance groups didn't exist 30, 40, or 50 years ago, I don't buy it. And also, I find it funny that people sit here and talk about they want equality, but then they want men to always be the ones that start conversations with chicks who, mind you, most of the time don't even like the men back that they're talking to anyway. Has always been this way. Yeah, because at the dawn of time, we had Tumblr and and Twitter and the rest of those, right? I told you they really write this. Like, I gotcha. You know, there's this one story in what was it? Okay, when I say always been that way, I mean just generally men ask and pursue. Okay, but what is the point of asking and pursuing if the woman keeps saying she's not interested, but will sit there and talk to you for weeks or months? Like I want to ask you, what would be more appealing to you if you're someone that wants to go on a date? Paying somebody to do it over a 2-day period, or talking to multiple women for weeks or months over years that are going to show interest and then not actually do anything? I am so sick and tired of good things always happen to bad people, and they always get it, and they don't have to prove anything. Always been that way. Dude, if things had always been the way they currently are, I would not exist. If my mom sat there and talked to my dad for 2 or 3 months and went, I only like you as a friend. They didn't do that time wasting BS back then, certainly not to this amount. Yeah, that's a waste of time, to be honest. I think some women just like the attention. They like a guy talking to them, but they would never date or sleep with them. Guys got to know when to move on. Yeah, the guy has to know when to move on, not the woman that talks to men that don't like her back, that she doesn't like back, rather. What if it keeps happening over and over? Oh, you're just supposed to put up with it forever. But like I said, if I have the option to do things with hookers where you can pay them to go on a date, you can pay them to screw you, why would I not select that, which I know I can get for a price, over talking to a bunch of chicks that have proven that they will waste your time over and over? As a guy, you're supposed to tolerate it constantly. Yeah, forever. That's why I called it the romance comic book. The status quo is that you're supposed to sit here and talk to chicks who don't like you but will keep speaking to you forever because that's what a normal person does. And then you're not supposed to complain about it and just put up with it forever. And if you get upset about it, if you scream, they start accusing you of plotting terrorist stuff because the chicks are supposed to be the ones that determine who is mentally ill and who is regular. Oh, not this guy again. There they go with those recurring villains. Well, then, Brand, at this point, maybe you shouldn't approach them. Unfortunately, both men and women have bad behaviors and habits. I don't know. I haven't seen any groups of chicks complaining about men not being willing to go on dates with them. And she reminds me of when Trump was talking about Charlotte. He was like, there were good people on both sides. It's like, no, it's not the same. If one side sees a bunch of chicks that they're at least willing to go on a date with, and the other side is so damn picky to where there's entire groups about having this issue, you're really going to tell me that, well, there are both men and women who are. It's like, no, they're not equal. Like, think about it. You're a man, right? The chicks you talk to don't like you, and then you're supposed to believe that there's going to be this magic woman who will like you back. When we know that most of them, if they even exist, don't say anything first to the man anyway. So what are your options? If you allow it to, what is this? If the woman isn't giving the same energy, what does that even mean? Those old chicks knew what it was about back then. Now they want to say, oh yeah, you listen to the way these people talk. They make everybody sound like an abuser. Didn't say it was the same. I said men and women have had behaviors depending on the gender you speak to. But men are not making it impossible for a large enough chunk of women to come online and articulate how difficult it is to get a date. You do not see chicks saying, I'm 25 and I've never had a boyfriend. Never. It's a bunch of men who are encouraged to accept chicks no matter what, and a bunch of chicks who have standards that are way too damn high, and who will like sit there and play with you forever and waste your time. That's why I don't understand why these women have to be so stupid to be submissive to a what? What is this esoteric nonsense? What energy? Dude, they use so many terms that nobody even knows what they're saying. Like vibes, energy, shadow work. I'm like, they really talk like the Riddler. Like, Dudley, are you wearing green? You have like a purple question mark on your chest. Like, I'm not making jokes either. Or like, explain what the same energy is. I'd love to know. Voodoo. It's the time wasting that gets to me. Yeah. It's one-sided in the sense that chicks in general hold all the options while guys are literally forced to take whatever comes their way since they have little to no options. Yeah. I even mentioned in my video, the only reason I dated that broad that turned out to be the biggest gold digger in U.S. history is because she was the only woman who said something to me that whole year. If I had anybody else, you can infer she would have had a much more difficult time appealing. So I said, if you're like, when chicks talk to men and get a date, it's usually because they're the only option of the man. It's like running for office and being the only candidate. And then like, yeah, I got a boyfriend. Like, oh, good job. You were the only person that showed interest in them. What shadow work? I really want to know. It's that stupid self. This guy made a video about how to get a girlfriend, and he was like talking about self-improvement, and that's supposed to be his term that he's used. Like, again, you jump through all these hoops for chicks that don't have that, are all perfect in their own way. Because that's a quality. Good old fairness, huh? Lord, I wish I can get on your live stream and explain all this. I mean, you can just type it. Everybody else is typing. This is backed up by the fact that guys have groups online and in forums complaining about how hard it is to get a date or girlfriends. Fully one-sided. Yeah. She was trying to do the both sides. Like, there are some men and we're like, no. The dawn of time. Oh my God. Oh, where'd she go? But women are doing that too. They may not struggle to get a date to this degree, but they have issues about men too. I'm just trying to get us to see both sides have their first. Well, listen, if one side's frustration is if a man will cheat on them, if a man will do something specific to what their relationship entails, and the other side can't even get a date, it's not the same. Like, again, I don't see any chicks online complaining about how hard it is and how many years they've struggled with getting a man to go on a date with them. So, their frustrations to me are always going to kind of seem like, what's a good example? Just stuff I really don't even take that seriously because, they have options. Like, I don't see any women saying, I only ever had this one boyfriend. It's like, no, they're always talking about multiple ones they've had. I never said it was the same. I'm not arguing that point. But I'm saying their frustrations are not congruent with each other. When you said both men and women have this, like, no. Like, what are these? I would like you to say, what are the frustrations that women have toward men? Because I've never seen a relationship where if someone's paying for the other person's stuff, it's the woman. I've never seen a relationship where if somebody is, what's another example? It's just, I'd really like to see what these frustrations with men are. One of the biggest nebulous terms used by these people is game. That just goes to prove that relationships are no longer about genuinely liking someone. Yeah, I said before, it's a weird strategic simulation. If you go to the gym for 6 months, you'll increase your chance of getting a date by 2%. It's like, to hell with actually wanting to spend time with that person, to hell with, liking them for who they are. It's all artificial BS. They are nitpicking. Dude, your game is weak. Yeah. I told you, it's always somebody that never met you who's like the game evaluator. I really hope you don't get upset and leave. I want to see what these frustrations are. Tons of frustrations, emotional and physical abuse, infidelity, lack of accountability, jealousy, being lied to. Of course, women can do this too. Well, that's my point, that I don't dispute men have done things to chicks. But when you admit that women can also do those things, I don't see. Basically, if you tally it up, more men just have more issues than stuff that chicks do, because all that stuff chicks can do to a man, and you don't see women complaining about how hard it is to get a date. I don't see women online saying, this man only liked me for my money. Like, every time somebody's talking about gold digger, it's a woman that got with the man so she could be financially compensated for what he had. Hell, the guy that was on here that I was getting ready to ban, that Gertz person, he admitted that the sugar dating concept is literally designed so that you can get with a woman who's just going to take your stuff. It's like you're supposed to find that appealing because that's the only way to get any type of little romantic stuff from abroad. Your options are simple: socialize and actually meet people. A lot of connections from constantly being around new people, trial and error. Y'all can read, right? Hey, come on, let's not do that. This isn't a trash TV talk show. Come on, let's not try to call people illiterate. Like, I have not disrespected you since you've been here, so I'd like for there to be a constant stream of actual attempts to understand what somebody else is saying. Can't wait and expect to find that perfect. What does perfect one even mean? Dude, somebody needs to take perfect one, soulmate, the right one, the chosen, all of those, and just ball them up and throw them in the trash. We have a standard of the court. Yeah, this isn't Jerry Springer. No, it's ridiculous. We're in here talking like statesmen, and then somebody's going to accuse another person not being able to read. It's nuts. It's like, well, you can say they're not getting your point. I could not be getting your point, but you don't have to accuse someone of not being able to read. That perfect one. Socialize and actually meet people. Apparently, Dudley Punch got the advanced manual on how many people I meet per day. Oh, don't bring up that the I word. Come on. You're dismissing everything because of diction choices. Okay, apparently maybe you're getting like the abridged version of my stream where content is cut out. I literally read what she wrote and responded to it before she asked them if they could read. So I don't. What are you talking about? James, that's supposed to be the woman equivalent of whatever the I word actually means anymore. And look, people claim that those exist, but I'm like, every time I see chicks that I don't think are attractive, they still have a date, like that's why it's hard to believe that even is real. Yeah, like again, if chicks were getting rejected to anywhere near the number that men are, you would see them make groups about it too. Every time I see women complaining about men, it's men they actually dated. Hell, I've seen chicks complaining about having multiple men like them at once. What to do, what to do, so many options. Women always be on Meet Me with their husband, allowing talking. Oh yeah, they do like to go on those websites and talk to guys like they're not with a man. And I went over that before. That like a lot of chicks depict themselves as being single to like get attention from men that are not their boyfriend. And I've like shown examples of that too. Like when I did the video called "Why Do Women with Boyfriends Like Talking to Me?" It's like those bastards will really sit there and talk to you for like days and weeks and months. And it's like, what? Why are you doing this? Talk to this guy. And they never mention the boyfriend because they know when they say something about him, you're not going to want to talk to him. Because again, who wants to talk to somebody who's with another person? I guess with women, the issue is finding the right man, but not a man. I do understand the plight of dating, sadly. I don't even know what the right is anymore. It's just more nebulous terms. Dude, this guy said it would be easier to go in a thunderstorm and dodge rain than get a date. If it were reversed, you'd see news segments calling this an epidemic. Yeah, yeah. They do like to cry about accessories. I just don't feel sorry for like most of these chicks because, like I said, I don't see any of them complaining about how hard it is to get a date ever. And hell, when they come online and complain about anything, you don't see people tell them they're going to blow up a building or shoot up a school because somebody rejected them romantically. Which, again, good luck seeing that happen. Okay, I've seen segments about chicks not finding men that they like, but it still is not, oh, no man wants to be with me. I keep getting rejected over it. Like, it's not the same. They always have options. It's literally the only time they get the closest thing to like a drought is when they just keep rejecting every damn body. And like I said, if things were reversed, nobody would feel sorry for me if I came on here and said, well, I had these 5 women last year that were trying to talk to me and I rejected all of them because I'm waiting for the right one. Nobody would feel bad for me. They would go, what's wrong with you? I'm actually afraid of going on a date, may get accused of yeah, I would not be surprised. You can't solely blame a group of people for this problem. Well, people have no problem blaming me for this, so. They're over there verbally crucifying me on this website. Now, let me go back to the things she was saying since Dudley's accusing me of not reading what I clearly read earlier. Where is it? Okay, emotional and physical abuse. But my thing is, if you don't do any of that stuff, because like people will say, oh, it's unattractive to call women the B word or to beat them. It's like if you don't even do that stuff, you still get rejected. And as far as infidelity, I've only seen it from chicks personally, of like the men I know that've been in relationships with them. I don't know what lack of accountability is, and you can get jealous from damn anything. I've seen people who are just friends with each other get jealous that somebody else talks to another person more than them, being lied to. I mean, hell, I've been lied to by these bastards as well. I did a video showing the broad that what do you call it? Asked me on a date. I said yes, and then that piece of garbage was talking about, whoa, I just got really confused. So again, my sympathy is like all the way down there. Meaning it's men who give women all these options. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, but see, that's why I don't understand. It's like you're telling a person who has no options usually to feel sympathetic to people who have options, like to people who actually have what you don't have. Again, that's like me being like, oh man, I'm so rich, I have all this money, and then somebody is living in a box. I'm like, please feel sorry for me, person that doesn't have any. Please feel bad that I have an excess of what you would like to see a little bit of. Living in group homes and still want to play mind games and they're under dirt. That's why I can't feel sympathetic towards you. And dude, Megumi, in the video I mentioned that they do this to themselves. Like most of the ones I see complaining about having multiple men talk to them, nobody made them go on Twitter or Tinder or Tumblr or Instagram or any of those other websites. And they can block them. Like they'll actually sit there and talk to those guys that they don't like. Again, let it come out on here where I'm talking to 10 or 5 chicks and I only like 2 of them or don't like most of them or any of them. Nobody would feel bad for me. They wouldn't say, oh, poor Justin, all these women are trying to talk to him. Poor guy with glasses. No, they would say, what's wrong with you? I must feel sorry for you with your excess of chicks. Get out of here. What's this emoji that Jem posted? It used to be where you could click it and it would tell you what the emotion was. Let's not forget that most of them put themselves in this situation. Yeah. Because again, social media is optional. Like you can literally live your entire life without going on a single one of those websites. And they choose to. And they also choose a lot of times to talk to those men. Like, look, I know that there are chicks that get random private messages from men trying to like say it, but it's like, just block them if you don't want to talk to them. I had a woman who I saw wouldn't speak to you block me. I didn't make another account to talk to her. Like, it's really, that's why I said, like, I don't feel sorry for them. Do it to themselves. James, what I'm getting at, both men and women facilitate the issue of men's problems with dating. Think about it, if men weren't as thirsty, maybe women wouldn't be as delusional. Does that make sense? But again, like, chicks don't have to talk to these men if they don't like them. I've had chicks that I don't like say something on one of my pages. I don't respond to them. I definitely agree with you. But this is a result of guys getting constantly rejected and turned down by so many chicks as a whole, though. Yeah, and it's like, well, hell, this is another thing that like goes back to why this stuff doesn't make sense to me. Men are thirsty, but then we're supposed to also approach chicks, right? So if you approach them, you're thirsty, even though that's what you're conditioned to do, according to which you admitted earlier has been going on since the dawn of time. So what would they have to do to not be thirsty? Not say anything to any of the chicks they find attractive? So I said I don't understand the logic of this stuff. Well, I'm not saying you as an individual. We're speaking broadly here. But again, they have no options. So how are they supposed to act? You might as well not date. Yeah, it's like you're thirsty for going and talking to a bunch of chicks. But then you're also supposed to approach them because, according to her, that's been going on since the dawn of time, or whatever. What I don't remember what the specific phrase was, but that's like a standard thing that's expected for men to pursue and approach women. But then they're thirsty also if they do it and contribute to women. So, like, what are they supposed to do? I get that, but damn, some guys go really overboard with trying to get women. Well, what does overboard mean? Because even with the like 50 guys that were talking to the one woman, even if I think that's ridiculous, they still don't know. Like I only know because she told me how many it was, but they still wouldn't know how many of them are all sending her messages. I get that point, but I think about how women can easily get money off me or get all these perks and services. If men said, "No, we're not doing that," then women may act right. Okay, but like I don't. That's why I broke up with the gold digger. She wasn't going to get any coins off of me, and it's like you still have the same result. It sounds like you. Oh, here we go. Everything he writes. So it's like this two-way street. You get entitled women because their entitlements are being met, not by me. It sounds like you are over exaggerating the situation a bit. The dating scene isn't balanced, but that isn't the end all be all. I agree, dating norms suck. No, you don't. You don't agree because then you would be exaggerating it, over exaggerating the situation as well. So you obviously don't agree. Well, that's smart. Break up with the gold digger. Isn't this desperate? That's why he has values. Yeah. Like, I just don't think most, like, the overwhelming majority of chicks are not worth doing a bunch of exercise or trying to become a millionaire for. Because again, you would never see someone say, to get with the great Justin, you need to go to the gym every day. Would never happen. It's like women being groupies for men. These men may end up having egos because they think they can have any broad in the world. Yeah, but when you literally can't have any broad in the world and get rejected over and over again, and then you see chicks who are like complaining about the different men that they've been with, it's not the same. Who wants to be with someone who just wants their coins or stuff anyway? One thing I think is so underrated by people I talk to is how badly social media affects people's mindset on relationships. Well, again, people act like chicks are nuns, but when they go on somewhere like Tinder, you think you're going there to meet a person who values your personality and likes you for who you are and wants to get to know you and develop a connection on a deeper philosophical level. No, again, that's why I said that nobody makes them sign up for these websites. You guys do bring up valid points. By the way, I'm just obviously seeing things a little different and trying to cover as many corners as I can. No, because you or I or anyone else is not responsible for regulating the egos of. Yeah, I can't control what other people do. Like, I don't talk to chicks anymore. I don't approach them. Haven't done that in 3 years. But if other people are doing that, then what solution is there for me? If they're going to keep inflating the egos of these broads, how am I supposed to ever get anywhere while having to deal with that? Yeah, but you do understand that egos and people's perception of themselves can be because of how other people treat them. If a girl gets showered by men, what is she supposed to think? Uh, well, I mean, if you're not showering that person, and again, this goes back to what I was saying, like, what is the point of trying to talk to regular chicks if you can't get anything out of them other than having your time wasted? Like, people got so mad over the hookers are better than girlfriends video, but the whole point of it was to say, I don't believe that a man should have to talk to 90 chicks to either get a date or to get screwed. So I really would like to know what is the justification for talking to chicks that we know don't even like most of the men they talk to anyway, over paying somebody to do a service that you think is long overdue. Yeah, the time wasting is bad. I don't disagree. Women who do that are ridiculous. Again, I just think it's insane that people actually think you're supposed to sit here and put up with this forever. I'm going to sit here and talk to women that don't like me so they can not give me what I want. And then I can get blamed for them doing what they did. That's so appealing. It's kind of funny how you don't name, but have described me as being gold digger, kind of like these folks who call the I word or part of a group he doesn't associate himself with. Now, you know what? It's still different because um, the term gold digger is just used colloquially to describe a woman. Whereas with the I word, they literally like what they have a defined definition of guys that congregate in the group. And if you just talk about chicks in a way that is not kissing their behind, then you get called that. Chicks are the ones that mainly do the same excess of time wasting as well too. Yeah, again, I don't know any men that talk to women they don't like romantically. Every time I see somebody that says, "Oh, I like this person," but they said they want to be friends after we spoke for weeks or months, it's always a woman who did that to a man. So I said it's not the same. Well, I've never dated women, but trust me, I've had a lot of guys waste my time. They don't show up on dates. They say want a relationship when they don't, but I do get your point. Hey, listen, you know what? Since I have people who don't believe me when I say something unless I show some screenshots, I'd love to see some screenshots of this, some kind of proof. Because every single time I see somebody wasting another person's time when it comes to this topic, it's chicks doing it to men. I don't personally know any men that when they get asked out by a woman, which, good luck even seeing that happen, they're like, nah, I'm good. So I'd really like to see some screenshots of this. Dude, it's like chicks invent ways to waste people's time. Like I mentioned the broad from January that like kept saying she wanted to have a phone call and then missed having a call with me 6 times back to back. And I'm like, oh my God, this isn't even romantic. And they're like not even able to do this, like that is insane. Yeah, it would be good to see some sort of proof of this occur. Yeah. Like I'm done. Like the era of me just taking what people say at face value is over. Because if I'm gonna have people not agree or dispute my recollection, I think the same should happen to them. The thing is, some men encourage this behavior. That's why I'm getting at example. If a child misbehaves, wouldn't you think some accountable is to the parents? It's like I guess, but I don't have any children, and like I get held accountable for stuff that other men do. Like you'll actually see broads will say, "Well, I like you, but I was with this man a year ago, so it didn't work out. So I don't want to bother with you either." And again, if you did this to a chick and you told her, "Oh, I don't want to talk to you because all these other people would say you're negative and you're trying to blame her for what these other people did." I mean, I generally do. I'm not saying women don't waste men's time. Like I said, I've known women who just want the ego boost of men drooling over them and waste their time. But what does being thirsty even mean? And that's why I said that, like, all you guys are doing is proving men shouldn't even bother talking to chicks because if you talk to them, you're thirsty, even though according to these people, you're supposed to do that. It's like pick your poison. It's either bad to talk to them or it's bad not to talk to them. It can't be both. I think it's bad to talk to them because it's a waste of time, but whatever. I don't go around telling people what they should and shouldn't do. Well, duh, it's a parents to regulate the child, but we're talking about guy grown autonomous adults who own nothing to one another. This stuff is just absolutely insane. Just that I said the only guy that wastes times with chicks are the ones who have options. Yeah. Like when that gold digger asked me on a date, it wasn't even a week before that occurred. I jumped like a like a damn rabbit. Like, let's do this. Like I said, that was the most anticlimactic thing I have ever seen. For 5 years, people built up how great being with a woman was. And all this one ended up doing was begging me for money for 10 days straight. I was like, what kind of gag is this? That was a hell of a hoax. What kind is interesting to note that when women generally raise concerns and issues, both men and women listen, but when men do it, neither men or women really give a hoot. That's just a bad dude. If you don't understand why it's screwed up for people to tell you about how great being with a woman is, and then the first one you ever get with begs you for money every day after a whole month of acting like a normal person who liked you for who you were, I don't know what else to tell you. that's just a bad experience. It's either be with the gold digger who begs you for money over and over, or talk to a bunch of chicks who admittedly might not beg you for money, but are not actually interested in dating you. So again, pick your poison. Who is she writing? Well, they don't really give a hoot because with women it doesn't affect them, and with men they don't want to criticize chicks ever. So you have to like bear the cross for all the decisions of chicks. Even though again, if we reverse the genders, you would see a different result where if it was men rejecting chicks over and over, people would say there was something wrong with the men for having standards that are so high that all of these chicks aren't able to find anybody. And it just goes back to my theory that when you're a man, nobody cares about you. I think it comes down to years of social programming, but also by, oh my God, come on. Look, I'm not a scientist. I'm not here to play forensics. I am discussing factors of things I have seen repeatedly happen to people besides myself. As long as I can move on and find without having to wait for. And that's my point, Brandon, that look, if it was just this gold digger and then you talk to maybe like 10, 20 chicks over the next year and then you find like, let's say 2 that want to go on a date. Okay, fine, whatever. But you get that one chick after years of nobody showing interest to finally say yes. And then she's begging you for money every day. And you say, to hell with that. And then you never get asked out by a broad again. So then what were your options? Stay with the gold digger or keep talking to chicks that don't like you. Like, that's why I said that this stuff cancels itself out, because I know older generations of men who admit to having chicks that, did screwed up stuff to them, but they were able to move on with someone else and not have to wait 5, 6, 4, 3 years to get another date. Where do you generally meet women? What is this, a poll? I hate it when they do. Where do you meet women? What kind of women are you approaching? It's like, oh my God. What makes you think you'll ever get yourself that close to another chick, another decade? Yeah, the longer it takes to get a date, that should be all the reason you need to confirm that this chick stuff is not worth the effort. Because if I'm getting the same result from sitting on my couch as I would by like going to the mall and trying to talk to chicks, it just reconfirms what I've been saying, that there's no point to talk to a bunch of people who don't like you and who are too cowardly to talk to people that they actually do like. You got to love it when a person's understanding of human psychology is women do this, men do that. Yeah, if it takes 5 years to get one broad to go on a date, and you sit here talking about the chosen one and the right one and soulmate, all that stuff should be shattered. Hell, I told you, not even 2 months ago, we had a broad that agreed to go on a date with me and then, backflipped like she was at some sports event. Oh, here we go again. You're basing the entire dating scene on your duh. What? Okay, if I have a channel where I talk about things as I see them, why the hell would I base it off of someone that, like, am I supposed to ask Megumi for, am I supposed to make videos of what Megumi's been through? And it's not just my experiences. You can go online and look these groups up of men talking about how hard it is to get a date. I can't believe this person talks about their experiences as portraying romance in a negative way based off of their negative experiences with women. I tell you, they're just contrarians, man. They come around, try to screw up the chat. And wouldn't that make sense? Like if I'm me, don't I have? Wouldn't most of my romantic experiences be ones that happen directly to me? Like again, am I supposed to ask my subscribers, "Hey, tell me what happened to you and chicks? I need to make a video." It's not a lot of experience. Dude, that's BS. I did a 2-hour video showing like 20 different chicks I spoke to online where you get the same result no matter how long those bastards talk to you. And what is a lot of experiences? 10 years isn't a lot of experiences, all right? Yeah, how would he know that? What is he talking about? Okay, I know dating apps can be hit or miss. When I talked to my younger brother about this, I generally told him to join local social clubs. He was able to meet a woman at his gym. Yeah. Hey, good for him. You listen to these people, you have to live in a gym to get a date. I still have the screenshot of the guy that said go to the gym every day. Until you get a woman, then you don't have to go daily anymore, but just still keep going. Everyone has their own experiences and failures by telling a story about the dating scene. I know how many experiences you've had. So the guys on here act like they're Dr. Gero from Dragon Ball. They have a little bug that they've had on you watching you from afar. But you're just here to be a contrarian. It's sad too, because like the rest of the chat is acting normal. So that's why I don't want a bigger channel, because it's going to be people writing even more weird stuff every time I stream. He created the lies, Eurodollar. I know how many experiences you've had. I mean, I guess maybe if we were to say like specific screwed up stuff chicks have done to me, maybe it's not that much, but it's still ridiculous. Like I had one chick agree to marry me and then backflip. I had one ask me on a date and then backflip. I had one who tried to blackmail me into a marriage where I would pay for the whole ceremony and then she was supposed to have kids. So, I mean, I guess maybe that's what he's talking about. But even then, it's like, is there a certain number of times you get rejected before you're allowed to talk about this stuff? You're not guaranteed a good relationship just because you fit a criteria, just not when looking for jobs. You can't just say all jobs are wasting your time because you're rejected from companies. Job hunting sucks as well. Actually, I can say they wasted my time because I'm allowed the First Amendment right to say whatever I want. What else would you call it if someone asked you to come for an interview, or after they sit there and blow smoke up your behind about how much they're interested in listening to you, they don't hire you? That was a victory to go up to somewhere that literally is not going to do anything with you. I want to see what's the certain amount of experience you're allowed to have. You can say whatever you want, but that doesn't mean it's fact. Well, I didn't say my opinions were facts. I said I think talking to chicks is a waste of time for the most part. If you want to sit there and talk to them, you have at it. I will not lose sleep. I will not complain. You won't see me on your channel. It doesn't bother me. Yeah, we get that. It's just that how you get options or dates if you keep getting rejected. Yeah. By Dudley's logic, we should just ignore any advice he has given thus far. Imagine pretending to say something profound and then discrediting it all within one stream. So, by your logic, we're supposed to ignore what you say too, because it's just your opinion. It's not a fact, right? It's not in the fact that I'm over exaggerating how ridiculous it is to try to get a date. That's kind of like the movie I Know What You Did Last Summer. No, this movie is the people keep writing stuff that's dumber and dumber. I think one of the best points did mention the time waste, and I do get that. Like I said, I've had many people waste my time when it comes to dating, but obviously for men, the issue maybe no, it's not maybe it is worse. It's like it's crazy how easy it is to get a woman to just sit there and like talk to a man she's not interested in every day or every week for like months. But then if you ask her, hey, can we go on a date? It's like it really it's like getting a woman to just speak to you, especially online, is very easy. But then getting a date is like pulling teeth. Didn't you say you didn't want to start insulting? Man, you've been insulting me since you got in here. Don't even try to play that game. The civility police. I'm over exaggerating. You don't have that many experiences. A robot, he takes forever to type and make us something. I'd like to know how, like, he's not addressing what I'm asking him. What is the number of times you're allowed to have some of this stuff happen to you and actually be allowed to talk about it? But as I said, it's mainly ego boosting. Maybe they're lonely. Hey, look, if people aren't going to be sympathetic toward me over this topic, I don't need to be sympathetic toward chicks. And again, I don't see any men that go on these websites and talk to chicks, and if the woman asks him on a date, he goes, well, I only like you as a friend. Every time I've heard of that, it's always the woman doing that to the man. In every instance. Again, there's just a lot of stuff with chicks where it's like, what was the point of that? Like the broad that said you're too good for me, and then she asked you all this personal information, you answered, and then like a few weeks later, I've been thinking about us, and I don't believe it would work, even though I've never even bothered to see how this would work because we never even went on the date. Goodbye forever. It's like, what is the point of that? Same thing with the the broad that scheduled to have to call 6 times over and over. And then, like, what you have to every time you talk to her, you have to message her first, and then she just stops. It's like, again, what's the point of that? Like, all chicks do is just waste people's time. I'd have a lot, like I said before, I'd have a lot more respect for chicks, just in general. If you ask them, like, hey, can I have your number? Can I speak to you? And they should just say no right then and there, because then your time is not being wasted. It's direct. It seems anybody that disagrees with you is misguided. You have everything figured out. You say later, dude, good luck after 2 or 3 different times you said you were leaving. I hope this is really the last time. I really pray that you go and watch somebody you actually like. I mean, I don't disagree with what you said. I'm just stating why people do certain things, not that I agree with the said thing they are doing. Like I say, anybody that believes chicks have it anywhere as bad as men with getting it with just women, I think is insane. He can't even clarify Megumi, that's all they do is just, where's my keyboard? Yes, we gotta give you that example again. Where is it? Look, this is him. Did I win? That's them every stream. It's one of those guys just comes here, types some weird stuff, try to distract from what's being discussed, and taking his ball home because no one will take a stupid opinion seriously. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with these people, man. It's like you try to have a discussion where you just talk about this stuff, and then people are accusing you of things. If it makes sense, I'll take it into consideration. My favorite part is where he's like, that gold digger was just a bad, it's not even about a bad experience. It's about having people for 5 years tell you about how great being with a woman is. And then you get with one and she sucks balls. And then like, you're supposed to just you're going back to the same cycle. You talk to chicks that don't like you. but will speak to you for weeks or months. You just keep having your time wasted until the end of time. Like again, if it was just a bad experience, you would get out of it with that broad, and then there would be another one a few weeks or months later. But that's not what happens. It's you approaching more chicks who just waste your time. She sucks. Wouldn't that be a good thing? Yeah, I would be joking too if that person didn't try to take me for everything I owned. They don't care about the issues. They just want to manipulate and control. It's the same never ending loop. But like I said, the hooker stuff literally was just me addressing people who said you don't offer solutions. Like, if I wanted to get screwed or go on a date at this point, I would do it with the hooker. Like, if you pay them a price, they will actually do what you want them to do. It's like, hey, I'm sorry that regular chicks waste people's time. I'm really apologetic toward that. But, I actually, if I have an interest in doing this stuff, would like to see it done versus, this stupid never ending saga. People will come on here and make these milk toast arguments and pretend that it's so profound that you have to do what they say. Well, like I said, they went from saying I censor people to now saying that I think I'm right about everything. So it is what it is. Yeah, they always say hookers are the most honest people you would meet. I get it. I just think chicks are terrible. Like, just they just waste people's time. And even if you say, I've said before, it's not all of them, it's enough of them, and that's why I'm not interested in talking to them anymore. I've always agreed in having to alleviate this problem. But yeah, and these people get mad, but it's like, if regular chicks aren't cutting it, and you can get this stuff done for a price, I don't see why you wouldn't do it. We're gonna find out. Take the black pill is her ex boyfriend. He goes to every stream. She's always like, "Hello there." Is how she types. I mean, there are a lot of people that type that way. These people are absolutely insane. They want you to just put up with chicks forever. Like, I asked one person, and she was talking about waiting until you're 35 to get a date, or you can complain. I'm like, are you serious? And like I said, the bastards who are telling you to do that stuff, they've never been rejected a day in their lives. So, it's just nonsense. Uh, Trucker had earned. I want to rob him of all his riches. Notice how when he had no proper argument, he resorts to pointing out fake hypocrisy and whining. I'm telling you, man, these people don't believe the crap they spew when you really start pushing back. Like I said, if these guys knew how to get a date so easily, well, why would they be watching someone who doesn't? Telling you that VVS said it correctly when he said that the guys that like mainly push back against the stuff I say are the stuff that just people who don't believe in a lot of this crap say. Is they act like porn stars. They act like they're just drowning in chicks. But if they were, you would think if you had a bunch of chicks waiting hand and foot for you, you would be, actually talking to them instead of trying to you know, cry about another man's love life. Anyways, I'm gonna get off of here. We can go on for 2 hours. Um, have a good day, Megumi, Brandon, Banana. If James is still here, I think he vanished somewhere. So see ya.